8th grade, we're going to go through some of these multiple step type problems as a review for your test correction. So this was a commonly missed question. What is the diagonal of a square with a perimeter of 324 yards? So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw a picture out to help visualize it. So I've got my square. The perimeter is the distance all the way around it, and it adds up to 324 yards. I know that a square has 4 equal sides, so I just need to do 324 divided by 4 to find my side length. So we've got a side length of 81 and 81. From here, we are going to find the diagonal, so we can apply the Pythagorean theorem. We would just do 81 squared plus 81 squared equals c squared. And 81 squared is 6,561. And then we need to add it to itself, and that gets us 13,122. That's equal to c squared. So to find c, or our diagonal, we just take the square root. We could either write it as square root of 13,122, or if the directions tell us to round, we would round to whatever place they tell us after we find the square root. Let's say we have to round to the hundredths place, we would say 114.55. All right. Here, what is the perimeter of this shape? So perimeter again means distance all the way around. We can pretty easily find this length. We go from -9 all the way to 10. So a change of 9, a change of 10, we have a side length of 19. Here we're going from 6 down to -7. So we've got 6 here, 7 here. That's a change of 13. So now we just need to find c. Again, apply the Pythagorean theorem. 19 squared plus 13 squared equals c squared. And now we just calculate. So we get 361 here plus 169 here equals c squared. We get 530 equals c squared. So now we just take the square root, and we get 23.02. Let's say they told us to round to the nearest whole number, so we'll call it 23. Our last step to find the perimeter is just to add them all together. 23 plus 13 plus 19 gets us a perimeter of 65. Here we're being asked to find the hypotenuse of a triangle with points at 2, 3, -3, -1, and 2, -1. So for me, I like to try to visualize this. So I've got a point at, let's say this is my coordinate plane, 2, 3. And that will help me see what my legs and my hypotenuse are. -3, -1. And then 2, 1. Or 2, sorry, 2, -1. So now we can just find our hypotenuse. From -3 over to 2 is 5. From -1 up to 3 is 4. So I would do 4 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. 16 plus 25 is 41. And we could say it is the square root of 41, or you could actually square root it, and you get approximately 6.4. All right, here we have which students drew a rectangle with a perimeter of less than 25 units. This one's going to be a little bit easier because you're not actually applying the Pythagorean theorem. You're just finding the distance between 2 points that are either horizontal from each other or vertical from each other. So let's take a look at Thomas. We have from negative 4 comma 8 to 4 comma 8. Well, the 8s are in common, so the distance between negative 4 and 4 is 8. Here we're going 4, 8 to 4, 3. The x values are the same, so let's check the y's. From 8 to 3, there's a distance of 5. And then because it's a rectangle, we know that the other two distances have to be 8 and 5 as well. So we could do 8 times 2 is 16, plus 5 times 2 is 10, so that would be 26. Thomas did not draw a rectangle with a perimeter less than 25. All right, looking at vertex 1 to vertex 2, the 5s, the y values are the same, so let's find the distance in the x values. Negative 3 and negative 2, that's a difference of 1. Here we've got negative 2 comma 5 and negative 2 comma negative 6. So the x values are the same. Let's find the distance between the y values. 5 and negative 6. So that would be 11 units. And we know that we would just need to add those together and double them. So 11 plus 1 is 12. Doubled makes 24. So Alyssa did make a rectangle with a perimeter less than 25. Looking at Kayla, we have got something more challenging. We're going to have to do a little bit more work for Kayla. So let's imagine our coordinate plane. We've got a point at 2, negative 7. And then a point at 5, 7. At 5, 0. And then 2, 0. So let's look. Is this a rectangle? No. So Kayla didn't even draw a rectangle. Let's take a look at what Kenny has. 0, 0 to 0, 7. Well, the x's are the same. The y's have a difference of 7. 0, 7 to 5, 7. The y's are the same. The x's have a difference of 5. And then 0, 7 to 5, 7. There's a difference of 5 again. 5, 7 to 5, 0. That's a distance of 7 again. So we do have a rectangle here. Add them together, you get 12. Double it, you get 24. Kenny did draw a rectangle with a perimeter less than 25. Let's take a look at Landon. We've got 0, 4, and 9, 4. The difference is in the x values, and it's 9. Here we've got 9, 4 to 9, 1. The difference is in the y values, and it's 3. 9, 4 to 9, 1. The difference is in the, I'm sorry, we just did that one. 9, 3, or 9, 1, goodness, to 0, 1. The difference is in the x, and it is 9. And then 0, 1 back to 0, 4, the difference is in the y, and it's 3. So he does have a rectangle. And we add them together. 9 plus 3 is 12. Double it, you get 24. Yep, Landon did one. Let's look at Natalie. Negative 3 comma 6 and 2 comma 6. The difference is in the x value, and the difference is 5. It's really negative 5, but whichever direction you go doesn't matter if we're dealing with the distance side of a rectangle. Looking at 2 comma 6 to 2 comma 3, the difference is in the y value, and 6 minus 3 is 3. Then looking 2 comma 3 to negative 3 comma 3, the difference is in the x, and that's 5. Going from negative 3, 3 to negative 3, 6, that's a difference in the y of 3. So she has a rectangle as well. We've got 5 and 3, add them together, you get 8. Double it, you get 16. Natalie had a perimeter of less than 25 units. Okay, here is a trapezium. We got to use Pythagoras' theorem to find the value of k to 1 decimal place. So if we're using Pythagorean theorem, that tells me we definitely need to use a right triangle. Here's my triangle. This length has to be 20 because this is 20. We're dealing with all right angles. So now we can use the inverse to find this length here. So we would do 22 squared minus 20 squared, and that would tell us a squared. So we get 484 minus 400. a squared must be equal to 84. A has to be equal to the square root of 84, which is to one decimal place. So we would do 9.1. Sorry, it's 9.16. So we would round that to 9.2. So this length is equal to 9.2. We want to find K, which is equivalent to this length here. So K plus 9.2 is equal to 30, and it's just a one-step equation. You just subtract 9.2 from both sides, and you get 20.8. Now that you have done this remediation ed puzzle, go ahead and do the Google form that is associated with it.